I've talked about when I was a kid. I was an army brat, right? So I grew up in the military a lot. My dad was in the army. My life, early on in my life, was very ingrained in military lifestyles. And up until I moved to Salina, Kansas, like, I was no longer, like, involved in the military life at that time with my parents, you know. Even if we lived off base, for some reason, I was still being, I was still being exposed to military life in one way or another, in my opinion, you know. But when we came to Salina, Kansas, there were like some new players in my life. And these players started off in high school around sophomore year. And they've been consistent in the theme up until now. But early, like, after I completed college, well, I flunked out of college, all right? I flunked out of Kansas Wesleyan and trying to be an educator, all right? Because I didn't know what to do at that point with my life. I tried to find a job where English degrees mattered, all right? So they didn't other than in schools or something like that. Nobody really gave a fuck about English degrees, even though I couldn't be the university professor I wanted to be, all right? So I went and I applied for a job at St. Francis Community Services for foster care and adoption. And I was the grant writer there. They like to collect kids like pets and toys. Did you know that? I'm not saying everybody that works there is a scumbag. Some people are good there. There's some good people, but there's some really bad people in there too. So yeah, I'd have to like write these grants to make sure all the money got sent to these certain facilities so that it would help all the kids and make sure their lives were better. So, you know, which I did. But whether that money got there or not, I don't know. They'd have me visit, you know, the boys' home. You'd hear like the boys screaming and getting thrown against the walls and shit and slammed down. I don't think you have to wrestle down a young kid all the time, honestly. That's not the way to do it, I don't think. I mean, sure, they always talk about their families. Their families are all dope heads. Their families are all child molesters. Their families are all this and that. These kids are all bad and terrible. They live in poverty. They were once middle class and now, like, their lives went to shit. And now their parents are all dope head losers that keep going in and out of jail. Yeah. That's why we need to go in and hunt down their kids. Make sure all of a sudden their kids have problems. So I've heard that 1,000 times. Not everybody's like that, though. Some people really do care. But some, money, 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 money. You start to realize you're targeted when you start going to jail or facilities like for the loony bins, or if you get in addiction and whatever. When you start to notice it's hard to find a job, yeah. When you're on social services, yeah. All of a sudden your kids are targeted to become items for foster care and adoption for families that already collect kids in mass quantities. And all their kids fucking hate them. All their adopted and foster kids hate them. Maybe some of them like them, but I don't know. Some people have good hearts, though. They really do care about the safety and well-being of some of these kids. But some don't. And they make it really clear that it's all an advertising scheme. And it's about marketing, and it's about saying the best thing you can so that, the hook becomes, I don't know, a phenomenon. It's silly. When I first got there, I thought, wow, yeah, these boys, they need a basketball court. Sounds pretty cool, So we all worked to get them a basketball court at the boys' home. And sure enough, they got it, so. And then one day I called one of the guys down there. I'm like, what do these boys really need? And he told me they need better beds. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to go and find better beds, like get funding so they get better beds. I don't know if they got better beds, but I tried, I tried to get them better beds. I got them the money, though. I got them a lot of money. Said the beds were so old and outdated. I don't know what that meant, but who knows? One time, they sent me down to the summer program. They have a kids camp or whatever, just for 1 day or 2 days, I think. But I think it was just 1 day. They wanted me to stay in the office and continue working. I was like, fine. I don't really want to hang out with these kids all fucking week long, but I still had to go down there. And we went to some art thing. I don't know what it was, but there are a couple of boys there sitting, and they were told they had to fucking draw whatever, like their emotions about their families and everything. I was just sitting there, and they're like, I don't want to draw about this, I want to make airplanes. I was like, all right. Some of them were saying, I miss my parents, I miss my family, I miss my grandma, I miss that. But we were making airplanes, and that was not the assignment. And I wasn't the best airplane maker, but some of these guys, some of these boys, they were making like good paper airplanes. So we totally defied the whole exercise, did whatever we want, and then we were like throwing airplanes, paper airplanes out in the field. I think they like that better. I don't know. Pretty clever kids. After that, I had to go and do some lunchtime stuff and get that all set up. But, Then I was asked when we got back what I thought about it, and I told them the story. Everybody just kind of laughed and thought it was funny, but a little guffaw. Nothing like harsh or anything, but It was like, that's not the assignment. I said, these boys, they wanted to do that instead. So I let them do it. Yeah, it seemed like they were the only ones they could trust in that group with each other. So. Seemed like that was their moment of happiness right there. A bunch of boys making paper airplanes and tossing them. I didn't do a good job, but I tried. I'm not saying guys don't deserve tough love. Some guys are really soft. I know. We call them soft rice in Korean, where they want to live off of somebody else's shit, because they can't really do their own shit. They want to live off someone else. So, usually a chick, but he ain't got his own shit, so. Anyways, a lot of these boys, they're always, apparently they come from really, really bad homes with really, really abusive parents who don't give a shit about them. That's always a storyline. Or these kids just grew up molested their whole life by their parents, That's why they're in these places, so. And they act out like it's normal. I don't know how the process works. I don't know all that. What really goes on. But I do hear about, people of color, people who are routinely being sent in and out of like facilities and institutions, like parents and their kids being easy targets to being put in these facilities as foster care and adoption. I wouldn't be surprised if they started doing that with a lot of people of Latino descent, coming across the border. I bet that's become a pretty lucrative market unto itself. But yeah, I see a lot of my people I've known in this town who have a lot of kids. And I've known them for like 40 years, since, ever. And they're always ending up behind bars for such and fuck whatever reason, And I never thought, they were really that bad. I don't know, but I never thought they were really that bad compared to other people. I mean, one's a street thug and the other one's an actual criminal. There's a big difference between, I don't know, smoking weed and, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Ensuring that your children are safe in the hands of strangers. To have enough money to fucking take care of them. But for some reason, you're always working your fucking ass off. And you're always getting arrested for dumb shit no matter what you do. And you're always having to work and do this for such and fuck. Or you're gonna get your ass thrown in doing whatever. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Sorry, I got a little ash on there, so. Yeah. Yeah. They'll go above and beyond what they need to accomplish their objectives. Even if it means me. And gosh, God forbid anyone find out the truth, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I was an army brat early on in life. When I was a kid. I was an army brat. And by the time I got to Salina, Kansas, Some people just never left my life. Until up to now. And I don't know who the fuck these people are. I don't know who they are. I didn't grow up with them. I've never seen them in my life. Never heard about them. Never seen them. Don't know who their families are. Don't know their last names. Don't even know if they're from Salina. Haven't a slightest fucking clue. They're definitely not the team I know. The people I've been around. Yeah. Definitely not from Texas. Or California. Those guys I've known in Salina for like 40 years. They seem to have disappeared. So, anyways, don't worry. You're probably next. You know too much. You still hang out with those guys. Wait until they're not around anymore, if you know what I mean. Spend that $1,000 on surveillance. Bye.